Hello and welcome to the creaking salt-soaked tables of the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. We're your hosts, Groven,
Conquest,
and today we'll be sharing a pint and talking all things Runeterra and beyond. Alright, so the first thing I want to talk about, and the thing that keeps me up at night, keeps me tossing and turning in bed,
yes,
I want to talk about the big bads of Runeterra. Who are we going to see in the dungeons? Who are we going to see in the raids? Who's going to give us a problem?
Yeah.
You know? And then I want to talk about who's going to be our, our navigators. People who are going to help us explore the different areas and the zones.
Yeah, we're going to need that actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, and then we'll talk about a little bit of design and like what we think about those different bosses and how they maybe should approach them in the Riot MMO.
Oh, okay. I like that. I like it. There's a lot to talk about here, actually. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
All right. You want to start with
Who I think
guide
the big
first?
bads are?
Oh, you want to do big bads first? All right. Let's do big bads.
Okay, so obviously we have the Watchers in the Freljord.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't know who the Watchers are beings of the void. And they're frozen at the bottom of the howling abyss in the Freljord. They're trapped with true ice. So true ice, just think about it as ice, but truer. Okay, this is better ice. This is strong ice.
Good ice.
It's not dry ice.
Yeah, premium ice.
Yeah, this is like hard ice. Okay, it doesn't melt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right, even on a warm summer's day in Freljord. Yeah.
I know what you're thinking. Why would ice melt in Freljord? But this ice extra doesn't melt.
Oh, okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah, and you have like the Iceborn people, like, Braum.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like Iceborn. Only Iceborn can wield true ice because anyone else that touches true ice will literally be in pain from it.
Oh,
like
shoot.
Physical pain.
Oh, yeah. I imagine some like dry ice level stuff. Like that's going to freaking hurt.
Like, how Braum can literally walk around the Freljord shirtless and looking great?
Yeah, dude's wild.
Yeah. But anyone else walks around the Freljord shirtless, that's hypothermia. It's death.
Wow, I did not know there was a canon reason.
Yeah.
Why Braum can be shirtless in the Freljord.
He feels no cold. Well,
that's wild.
They feel cold, but not like the same level as us. Like in order for them to feel cold, like Braum would need to be shirtless in the howling abyss, like towards the bottom where it starts getting really cold. Then he'll start feeling the cold.
He just has like a big resistance.
Yeah, resistance. That's the right way to put it.
Yeah.
Okay, the Watchers. This true ice literally came from the Watchers. Like it's almost of the void. So that may be something we explore later. But the Watchers are creatures of the void who got into our world. They're not even supposed to be in our world. They were asleep, in the void, in the nothing. And then they woke up to like a little bit of light, which ended up being Runeterra, our world.
Yeah, creation.
Yeah, which bothered them, pissed them off. They're like, I'm trying to sleep here. What's this light doing here? Very annoying. And so they're like, well, I'm going to destroy that light.
Wow.
We'll talk. This will link back to another big bad that we talk about later.
Okay.
Although not that bad, but bad.
Okay. So essentially, one of the biggest, baddest, most primordial forces that is against us is just trying to go back to sleep.
Yes.
And we just woke them up by existing.
Yeah. We are basically, they were trying to sleep and we just shined a light in their eyes. And we're just like, you can't sleep. And they literally can't sleep anymore. Like
we die.
Yeah. We're just like shining a light in their eyes. And then, so this isn't really the full Watchers. They were coming into our universe, our material plane, like the material plane of existence, via Lysandra, who's like, there was a huge war between the three sisters. There's Everosa, Sarilda, and Lysandra. They're from the Freljord. If you know who Lysandra is, she had two sisters. The two sisters, the lore is a little bit sketchy here, because we don't actually know the true lore because it's so long ago, and all we know is what Lysandra told us.
So this is like a unreliable source here.
Yeah, we ain't sure.
Yeah.
This is I heard it from friend, and that friend, to the victors go the spoils kind of thing, like victors write history.
Dude, that's the best kind of lore. Between that and the Noxus timeline, I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, it's great. It's one of my favorite things. It's the Watchers. Then the stories, the short stories called The Watchers, I think. But so Lysandra basically sacrificed everyone. She released the Watchers into our world, and then she decided, like, holy, okay, this is really bad. They're going to destroy all existence. We may have messed up here.
Yeah.
And then she basically sacrifices all the armies, literally even her sisters, to refreeze the Watchers at the bottom of the howling abyss. And now they're literally in the world, frozen. Like, if you go down to the howling abyss, if you search Howling Abyss right now, you'll see a picture of an eye. That's the cover of the short story, The Howling Abyss, which is like an hour long. It's a long short story. It's not very short, but they're literally alive down there. They're like awake. Like
That's
they're not.
scary. They're conscious.
Yeah, yeah. They're there. They're just chilling, waiting for the true ice to just weaken enough for them to break free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is the perfect setup for a big bad to show up on Runeterra and wreak havoc.
That's one of the reasons why I say Freljord should not be included at launch.
Yeah, absolutely not now, actually. Especially after that. Like, I don't know. It can definitely be like Freljord, I think, is a perfect starting like zone for a new expansion later on, where we can really focus on all the little details about the Freljord. And then, of course, we better be able to stand on top of that true ice and look down and see that giant eye.
I don't know. I don't know about that one because, like, literally only Iceborn are able to go that deep. Like, if you read the story, yeah, they're all Iceborn, the ones that are going down there.
Ah.
And because literally anyone else, first of all, would not be able. They're extra strong. They're not just resistant to cold. Although that's enough to make them special.
Yeah, they have like some extra like endurance.
They're even more special. Yeah. They're also resistant to like exhaustion.
Yeah,
because they're literally climbing down to the deepest point on Earth by hand with grappling hooks.
Gee.
Yeah. But I don't think we'll ever go down there. Maybe we will, like somehow. You know what would be cool?
What?
A crafting profession. So Ornn is like a huge crafter in the Freljord. Imagine we go to Ornn, we learn how to craft true ice.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then we use that to create armor that makes us a little bit resistant to the cold, so that we can climb down to the Howling Abyss.
And then we have to at some point, right? We have to go down to Howling Abyss at some point.
That would be really cool.
Oh my god.
Just came up with that off the.
That would be insanely cool.
Off the old noggin there.
Oh my, because that's way too cool of like a landmark to not see it in game.
That's true. It's pretty iconic. The eye staring up.
Yeah, dude. And that's another thing. All right, MMOs, you need a big looming threat. You need something that is just always, it's not always there. You don't always see it, but it is always there.
You feel it.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you feel it. You feel that looming giant force that you don't know how the heck you're going to beat it.
Okay. You want to feel how big and looming it is?
How big?
Okay, so look at the Freljord, right? There's the Howling Abyss is at the top right corner. Okay. And when he goes down there, by the way, these things have multiple eyes. Like they're not like us, you know. It's not like a representation of us. They look completely different. Multiple arms, whatever. They're just
some like Lovecraftian.
Yeah. Picture Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are crazy. Okay, his eye is in the Freljord, right? Okay, but then if you go down to Acathia, the other side of the incomplete map that we see today, which is incomplete. I've said it. It's incomplete.
It's incomplete.
It's not complete. Okay. All the way down in Acathia, that's where they release the void again there, right? Okay, but they are also the reason. They also control these creatures down here. They're able to control them. Like they're
like hive mind type thing. Like they're like an extension of them.
The Watchers control all of them except for there's one that I forget the name. There's one that they can't really control. I have to look up the name again.
Oh, a little rebellious.
Okay. Yeah. She's like different. Like she consumed a whole society and stuff. And I got her name Belvith. I remember her now. Okay. We don't know for sure if she's controlled, but according to lore that we have right now, she's not. But like that could be.
Ooh, that could be a great way for it to be like, hey, I'm gonna help you guys with this threat. We need to unite together to fight this bigger threat just momentarily, and then she betrays us.
Yeah. I wonder how true that is. That she's
that could be really cool.
But okay, you see his eye up there, and he's able to control literally Acathia Voidborn down here that are of the Watchers.
Yeah.
So how big is this thing, and how spread out is it under the world?
Oh my god. I always assumed like from this example is that like his influence, is able to spread down here. But you're suggesting physically the dude spreads across the entire map from the top of Freljord to the bottom of Shurima.
I think here's what I think. I think there's multiple Watchers, right? And I don't think that their physical form really didn't make it all the way in before Lissandra froze them. Like they were just kind of emerging and railing against existence. It was like a crazy, painful thing for them to come into existence.
God.
Yeah. Like all their sensations were firing all at the same time because they were literally of nothing.
Yeah.
But so I don't think they grew to their full form. But if we look at the void kind of is like tendrils, swirl.
Like roots, like under the planet.
Yeah. So I feel like maybe that they're spreading under Runeterra. Like they can't go up because it's just ice. And so they're spreading under Runterra. And that's why they're able to influence all the way down here in Cathy on the Voidborn. There's like
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I really like that idea. And then yeah, we can like slowly find out going into like the deep places of the earth, whether that's in like Ishtal or like Demacia or wherever, we find these like deep roots.
I would love to see it almost start in Zaun.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that's a great segue into Freljord. Like we're in Zaun. Like this is the Zaun expansion. We got Echo leading our way, exploring around. We get to the bottom, like we're in the sump level. This is the final level in the expansion. And then we see little traces of void.
Ooh.
And that like, or it could be Targon. We're in the Mirai territory. We already have links to the void, by the way. There's links to the void in
Targon is
Mirai as well. That they're underwater. And then we get like the end of that Targon expansion. We're in the Mirai territory, and there we see little hints of the void. Somewhere that
oh man, dude. Yeah.
And we're like, oh my god, how far does this thing go?
Yeah, dude. Like, oh no, this has already been going on for how long now, and we're just now noticing.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be really cool.
See, that'd be awesome. Like just to see. Okay, now it's a great segue into. Okay, now we have to go figure out what the hell is going on in Freljord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I want to be fighting like the void and their influence all over the place, even if it's just like little pockets here and there, you know, but they're still like dangerous, still they're doing damage everywhere.
Yeah.
So then that way, when we do inevitably go to the failure, it's gonna be like, oh my god, this is it. Like all this time we've been defending, now we're actually going to confront them.
Yeah.
And that should be a terrifying experience.
This whole time we've been fighting insects, like little flies of the void. We thought we were actually making a dent.
Yeah, exactly. And then once we take the fight to them, once we go to the Freljord, we realize how like, oh my god, insignificant everything we've done is. That we always say we need that sense of scale.
Yeah.
We need that sense of scale for how pointless everything is.
Yeah. I want to feel very small.
We are.
I want to feel very small. That goes back to like, I don't want flying because I want the world to feel big and I want to feel small in the world.
Yeah. I want to take time to cross, like to go from Noxus to Ishtal. I want them to take some time.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see Piltover off in the distance and be like, oh my god, am I going there to get to Ishtal? And then you run through Piltover and it's like an amazing, just like this awesome golden city. And then all of a sudden you're heading into a lush jungle. You know, and all of that takes like a solid like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think
I want to take time.
I think flight paths are fine.
Oh, me too, definitely. Once you've explored an area, you know, you get that flight path, you can always go back to it now.
Yeah, like if you're in Noxus, you don't want to have to. Although that run does sound beautiful, honestly, the way you described it, it made me want to do it. But
yeah, dude.
Later on, after you've done it, okay, then you have a flight path. You can fly from Noxus to Ishtal.
Yeah,
if you're not Demacian.
Yeah, if you're not Demacian.
Yeah. If
you're Demacian, you're killing the flight guy.
Yeah. Then you're not.
Now no one in Noxus can fly out.
Yeah, there's rules.
Because I like that because even a flight path is still like you're able to see the sights. You know, you're seeing everything below you, but then you're also only going to like a general area in Ishtal. You're probably not going exactly to where you want to go in Ishtal. You're probably still gonna have to run a little bit to get to that specific town or village outside of the capital.
That's why I like it. I feel like it's limited. You know, you're getting close to where you want to go.
Yeah, you're not making the same run over and over again to get to freaking Ishtal.
Yeah, but unless you like, you know, you're doing professions, you want to do the runs, like maybe you can do some professions on the way, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's still a reason to, and you're still doing some running around, and the flight path should hopefully still like take time. You know, it shouldn't be fast. It should just like the advantage that you're flying over like the mountains. You know. You don't have to run across those anymore.
Yeah,
but exactly. The flight path is still just a nice, slow journey. You still feel that sense of, oh my god, this is like a large landmass I'm crossing.
I was thinking about boats, right? But the one thing that I don't like about boats is I don't like the loading screens.
Yeah.
I feel like when you do, like, let's say you're flying from Noxus, you're going on a boat ride from Noxus to Targon. Okay, but now that boat's going to, like, you go out to the map and there's little red dots that show you go to Targon, and then you just load in. Like, I prefer a flight path where it's just like, okay, it's not going to take that long and you're flying. But I feel like a boat is a longer ride and so requires that. Like you could
I agree. I think, you can go to like, I would say like Bilgewater, you know, from like
Ishtal.
Yeah, from like Ishtal or like lower
Noxus.
Yeah. You can easily take a ship and that ship actually like you are actually going there in real time. I think that'd be awesome.
You save money. You don't have to buy, you don't have to pay. It's like a ferry.
Yeah. I think that would be really sick. Same with like Ionia is not too far off, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be a longer boat ride. There is a flight path, but then you could also like your first time, you could take a
Yeah,
boat
yeah, yeah.
ride
Your first
across.
time taking the boat.
Yeah, or if you just want to like save money, I guess you can take the
Yeah.
boat.
I think that could be cool. Just to experience that at least once. I think it's worth it to develop that kind of thing.
Hmm. Hmm.
But other big threats. All right.
Oh,
We kind of
geez.
pivoted off of that.
Yeah, we went on a bit of a tangent
I
there.
mean, that's what we
Oh,
do here. We pivot and we rant about MMOs. So
yeah, we really got lost though there. I honestly forgot that we were talking about big bets. Okay, but big bets, I can easily segue from the Watchers to the second. I personally think the biggest threat to Runeterra is not the Watchers.
Really?
Yes, and the biggest threat is what I'm about to name, and he is the reason that the Watchers were pissed from the beginning
Oh.
because his name is Aurelian Soul, the Star
Oh,
Forger of
shoot.
Argon.
The creator.
Yeah, he
Yeah, it
planted the
was this
seeds.
dude's, yeah,
Mhm.
it was this dude's light that
Yep.
woke up the Watchers in the first place.
Aurelian Soul was born in the first breath of the creation. He's called the Star Forger because he literally makes stars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then those stars produced light. And then the Watchers were like, what the heck is this light? And so I could see Aurelian Soul and the Watchers having beef.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually have fought in the past.
Ah.
Yeah, the Watchers coming, but they were coming. Here's what you got to remember: that fight, which I don't know if you guys are aware of or not, but either way, Aurelian Soul fought the Watchers, but there was the Watchers in our realm.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if Aurelian Soul could fight the Watchers in the Void. Like
Oh.
there, he's able to fight them here. I don't think he's able to fight them there. And Aurelian Soul actually did feel fear when he looked at them into the Void. And I
Wow.
don't want to. I remember reading that. I need to go back and confirm it. But I remember reading it that Aurelian Soul actually felt a little bit of fear when he looked at them in the Void.
Mm-hmm.
But so that's how like
Yeah, that's
real
how
the
like
Watchers are in the Void. Yeah, like he
yeah,
went
yeah.
through and
That
saw them.
yeah, they're like in their territory, in their element, he probably would not last very long.
Exactly.
Because
But in
yeah,
here
it's
he
that.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
here he has the advantage and he can actually like push them back.
Oh man, that's cool.
But the thing is why Aurelian Soul is not on our side is because of some stuff that happened in the past.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's some beef there.
Yeah, and this is why I think he's the biggest threat to Runeterra is because he's in our plane of existence. Like the Watchers, okay, parts of them are through and they're really their main form is in the void.
Mm-hmm.
Aurelian Soul can literally fight the Watchers here and he's much like the void, the Watchers are on Runeterra.
Yeah.
Runterra as a planet is pretty insignificant to Aurelian Soul. Like he
Yeah,
could
it's just
destroy the
another
whole
rock
planet.
to
Yeah,
him.
he could destroy the whole planet if he wanted to. So let's keep that in mind
Mhm.
when we're talking about threats to Runeterra.
And then we have a dude that looks at us as a speck.
Yeah, because a lot of people would say the biggest threat to the Runeterra is the Void and the Watchers.
Mm-hmm.
But Aurelian Soul has like a simmering, fuming hatred for Runeterra because so he created all these suns, and then eventually he sees, oh, like there's this random planet around that's orbiting one of the suns that I made a long time ago, and the other aspects who are like Aurelian Soul, he doesn't really care for them. He thinks honestly that, like they're pretty stupid.
Yeah.
He's like they just kind of talk and think about stuff while he's like creating the cosmos.
Yeah, it's like, oh, the funny little creatures.
Yeah, like
How adorable.
yeah, like aspects. He's like whatever, but then the aspects were really invested in Runeterra for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And so they told him, oh, come closer, come look at this planet. And so he comes down and he sees like these fledgling civilizations on Runeterra. And he's like, oh, okay, well, and then he's like, it's kind of they're asking for guidance almost like they're just like naive little creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And the aspects tell them, so he comes down in like the form of a vast and terrible dragon. And they're like, oh, wow. And he's immediately like, he's kind of amused by it. Like he has no animosity towards Runeterra.
Yeah.
And then the other aspects tell the people from Runeterra to create a crown for him as like a gift for the creator of their sun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they call him like the light, because he literally created the sun for their world.
Mm-hmm.
And so they create a crown, but the second he wears it, it literally clamps onto his head, throws him all the way back to the point where he can't get close to Runeterra. Then the other aspects set the people of Runeterra into creating the sun disk, which then steals Aurelian Soul's power. He's aware of this. Like these little tiny creatures are literally stealing my power from this sun disk and then using them to create these ascended beings in Shurima to fight some war in the future that he doesn't even know about, which ends up being this war with Akathia and the Void.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
so that's why he's like, oh my God, like these guys literally entrapped me, put this crown on my head, threw me all the way back. Now all my stars are dying because I can't get anywhere near this area where Runeterra is. So the stars around there are dying that I created because I can't maintain them. And they're stealing my power for this sun disk.
Oh man.
So he like literally, that's why he says, Targon losing your grip because they're losing the power of his crown is weakening. And the second that power fades, he's going to come back and just destroy Runeterra.
Yeah, he's just gonna poke us and we'll explode.
Exactly. Yeah, we're less than the tip of Aurelion Sol's fingernail.
Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah, okay. I was always wondering how the heck Shunima was, or like, yeah, like, Shunima and Targon were like powerful enough to, build a crown that could go on this guy's head, like basically a god.
I wonder that too. It doesn't really make
Yeah,
sense.
but I'm guessing it's with the help of the aspects, right?
Yep, exactly.
Because I think the aspects are only people who are even like remotely powerful enough to do anything like that to Aurelion Sol.
The aspects are really involved in Runeterra. Like all of these, when you look at like Tarek or Leona or Diana, like these are ascended people from Targon, but they're not ascended like the same way in Shadima where they're being ascended from the power of Aurelion Sol. Literally, an aspect imbues them with their essence. Like they're almost being controlled by the aspect.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're bound to their will.
Yeah, depending on the aspect. Like some aspects, it's almost like a buddy relationship.
Oh,
Other
okay.
aspects, they kind of just, okay, you can use my power. And then some of them are just like, this is me and I'm taking over. Like Pantheon, when he merged with his aspect, because you do this when you climb to the peak of Mount Targon. You like an aspect will sometimes meet you and like bond with you.
Oh,
almost.
okay.
But Pantheon's aspect is like the aspect of war. And so he's like, well, I'm just going to take you and I'll do whatever I want.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So he's like direct influence. Like Pantheon can't even like disagree. It's like literally he is controlling him.
That's how it was until the Darken War, where Pantheon, who was being controlled, got like stabbed in the chest and was literally about to die. And this is by Atrox. And then Pantheon, the original guy who was inside Pantheon, came forth. And so basically he's just himself now with all this power of the aspects.
Oh,
but
God.
He's pissed. He doesn't like the aspects.
Yeah, I'm sure after being taken over. I mean, the climb to Targon is not an easy task. This dude is hoping for a good blessing and he got screwed over.
Yeah, I remember he did it with like his friend and his friend died.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Wow. After all that, he gets screwed over by this freaking aspect of war.
Yeah, he pretty much just got like the aspect came into him, and then he wakes up with like a Atrox's sword in his chest.
Oh, wow. Oh, like literally like possessed.
Yeah, literally possessed. So I don't know if everyone else. I don't think everyone else is like that much.
Yeah,
obviously we don't know for sure, but I think that it's some of them are more. Diana is more like a 50-50, same with Leona, and then like some of them are just like I feel like maybe Zoe is more, you just have my power.
Yeah.
Because she's just like a kid, does whatever she wants.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I'm sure all of them are like influenced to some extent by their aspects.
Exactly.
Pantheon's just an extreme case of that.
Yeah, because his aspect particular is pretty was pretty violent.
Yeah.
And like I'm gonna fight you because that's my thing.
Oh my god. Wow. Do you think the aspect of war could be a problem later on?
I don't know. I don't know if I think he might be dead.
He might be dead. After you think he got stabbed, that was like
I feel defeated. Like I have to look up the exact lore for it, but I'm pretty sure like he died in that moment. And that's why
Pantheon comes back.
Yeah, the actual person who like was
the original Pantheon.
Yeah, the original guy is actually back.
Oh wow. Oh my god. So like this whole time in lore, all of Pantheon's like dialogue and things like that is not really him. We don't actually know Pantheon.
Yeah. A lot of that dialogue wasn't him until much later, until after that moment, then it was actually him.
Dude, this is like what's it called? Book 4 of Harry Potter, Mad Eye Moody. That's what this is. Goblet of Fire. We think he's such a cool dude, and then book 5 we're like, oh yeah, we don't know this dude at all.
Yep.
We don't know anything about him.
Anything before the Darken War, but we do see him again, like in cinematics and stuff after the Darken War. Like when he goes up, if you watch, there's a cinematic where he goes up, he's fighting on the top of Mount Targon against Leona. That's him. Like he is not a fan. He wants to like just expose this whole thing and just destroy all the aspects, like everything. This being possessed by like he doesn't see Leona and Diana and all the other people in Targon as allies. Like he
Oh.
thinks that I think he's like almost like an enemy to the aspects.
Okay. I mean, yeah, I'm sure each of the aspects have like their own kind
Agenda.
of like, yeah, ambitions.
Mhm.
But it seems like, yeah, the aspect of war is especially like he's doing his own thing.
Yeah, he's just a human now with the power of the aspect of war.
Yeah. Oh my God. So we'll have to see. Like, has there been anything lately about him being just him now? About
Uh,
like who he is as a person?
I have to look. I have to look. Honestly, I know that there's been like there's stuff of him afterward, after the fact, but I don't
Mm.
think it's as extensive as it is
Yeah,
before
before.
leading up to it.
Yeah. Oh my God. Because now it's like, dude, he better be a cool dude.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. Oh my God. We'll have to see where that goes. I mean, we better see him in the MMO.
Hmm.
Jeez. I mean, he's
Yeah.
either going to be very helpful or he's going to be a raid boss. So.
Yeah. Exactly. He does get possessed by Viego at some point and kind of does turn into a little bit of a raid boss. But
Dude,
that's a whole other
what?
problem. We're not
Wait,
there yet.
what?
We're not there
He's
yet.
been possessed twice?
Yeah, it's a problem.
That is a problem. Man needs to learn something.
Okay.
I think that's on him now.
Yeah, kind of.
Oh man. So like, all right, back to just general threats.
Mhm.
Comparing Aurelian Soul to the Watchers. Do you think the Watchers is going to be like any kind of early on threat? Because I assume Aurelian Soul's gonna be way after like the Watchers, right?
Yeah.
Just in terms of like power scaling. Like obviously they could do Aurelian Soul first, but it just like wouldn't make sense in terms of power scaling. But I feel like the Watchers is still such a massive threat that they can't be like one of the first threats that we face, other than the fact that we'll see them cropping up everywhere.
I'd
You
like
know?
us to never reach the point where we're actually defeating. Like, I think
Oh,
there
I
should be a
agree with
point
that.
where like we have to go in and re-imprison the Watchers. And then
Ooh,
but I think the Targon expansion with Aurelion Soul should happen first
mhm.
because we are literally incapable of even coming toe to toe with these
Yeah, these
Watchers.
like yeah, the
So I
Watchers,
think
let
we
alone
need
the
like
aspects or Aurelian Soul.
yeah, like we need to first, calm down Aurelion Soul a little bit. And like
Yeah,
then he can maybe help us against the Watchers in some way. Like I don't want to ever be where we're fighting these beings. Like even if we should never fight Aurelion Soul. We should never fight the Watchers. Like it shouldn't
mhm.
be a raid boss.
Yeah,
They should always be these larger than life creatures that are just unobtainable to us. And
yeah,
then
I
we help,
completely
like we're
agree.
foot soldiers. We do a little bit on the side. Like while we're fighting that, we're fighting like the voidlings.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also, yeah, I feel like that's a big thing about Aurelian Soul is that I feel like they definitely wrote him in a way where he's an enemy, but you can't help but like sympathize with him because yeah, we definitely are the reason why he hates us.
Hmm.
We actively, betrayed what little trust he had of us.
But then again, the aspects are the reason that Runeterra is still around, kind of. We think, right? Because that without the
Oh yeah, without like the sun disk,
yeah,
yeah, we
without
would be
the
in big trouble. Like Acathia would probably not be.
it would have been spread across the whole world.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a difficult thing to think about. I mean, also Aurelian Soul is against the void, right? Like he's very actively against the
Yeah,
void.
yeah, he doesn't like the void.
Yeah, but I guess his solution would have just been to destroy the planet if he found the Watchers on it.
That's what I wonder. Like his main thing is the cosmos. Like he likes Runeterra. It's cute. Look at these people. Wow, and interesting.
Yeah,
But his main thing is like he's the star forger and he loves this. He cares. This takes time. Like even after he creates a star, he maintains it.
yeah, he takes care of
So
it.
that's mostly what he cares about. And if the Watchers ever start threatening more than just Runeterra, like he's extra incentivized just to be like,
Yeah, just nip the problem in the bud.
yeah,
Destroy the whole thing.
and done.
Oh yeah. I could definitely just like, yeah, just based off of how you can help us sympathize with Aurelian Soul a little bit, that we are the aggressors in his case. I can see us allying ourselves with him if he is able to like turn over a new leaf or whatever and actually try to protect Runeterra.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that happening. And then the aspects, they're really like invested in us as in like why would they care so much about
We don't
protecting
know.
Runeterra?
We have no idea why the aspects are so invested in Runeterra. And even they never really explained that to Aurelian Soul. They were just like, come see this world. And then they trap him and like start stealing his power just to make sure Runeterra is safe by empowering these immortal god warriors.
Wow. That's super interesting. That's definitely going to be some like MMO lore stuff, we're gonna slowly figure out what makes
Mhm.
Runeterra actually important as a planet. I hope it's not too like chosen one-y, where like, oh, we just so happen to be born on like the planet, that's decides the entire fate of creation or whatever the heck, you know.
Yeah.
But I still hope like there's a reason why the aspects care about us, and I hope it's something devious. I hope they
You
actually
want you
don't care
want
about us,
depth?
but they want something out of it, you know.
I'm trying to remember what they're called. Like I know in Shurima, they're known as ascended, right? They become ascended when they gain the power from Aurelian's soul. But they're not called ascended when they reach the top of Mount Targon. Yeah, I know they're imbued with the power of the aspect. I think they don't I
They
don't
don't
think
have like
people
a
refer
title.
to. I'm trying to figure out the name. I don't know if they refer to them as aspects or not.
Ah, okay.
They're all ascended to me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's the tomato imbued with the power of some godly being.
That's what you'd think, but there's going to be a comment that says how wrong we are. Okay, so just be ready for that
That's
one.
very true. Aurelian soul and the aspects are two very different things in terms of like power
Okay.
and their origins. But okay, well, I'm also interested about for threats. We've talked about some really massive threats. What do you think the smaller threats are going to be in Runeterra? What do you think when we first start, when we first go in with our character in Demacia or Noxus? What do you think we're killing first?
In
You know?
Demacia or Noxus?
Yeah. If those happen to be our starting, I feel like at this point we're just talking
Mhm.
about it like it's a guarantee. Oh yeah, we're starting Demacia or Noxus. But
Mhm.
I also can't see us starting anywhere else that would make sense. Just in terms of like a regular starting zone, I feel like those two are so perfect.
I don't know. I think for like the smaller threats, those are usually easier to define out after. Like I could see Demacia having, like the Defias Brotherhood from
Yeah, that's what I'm
like
thinking about is stuff like that. Like in World of Warcraft, the Defias Brotherhood. They're like just like extremists
yeah.
essentially. Like what kind of average Joe dudes do we have to keep at bay in Runeterra?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how much of that I can think of off the top of my head, to be honest. Like I feel like those are because they never had, like before World of Warcraft,
Hmm.
there was no like there was a Scarlet Crusade.
Yeah,
Was it a Scarlet Crusade even
I
before? I don't think
definitely
there was a Scarlet Crusade
no,
before.
there wasn't because the undead weren't like a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
like at least like the Forsaken were not really a thing until after Warcraft 3. Once they were free of Arthas's control for the most part.
Yeah, so I feel like those threats are not really defined yet. There is one that I could think of, and that
Mhm.
is actually Viego's uncle.
Viego has an uncle.
Yes, Vladimir in Noxus is Viego's uncle.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ah, what about him makes him threatening?
he's like a vampire.
Okay, cool,
Yeah,
cool. I see the whole family has their own
yeah, yeah,
history of just messed up stuff going on in their lives.
yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he's kind of out for himself. So I could see his goals maybe not aligning with Noxus at some point, where he just kind of like wants more power or something like that, or he does something that is not in the best interest of Noxus, and then maybe we have to fight him.
Okay. So he's just like very extreme in general,
Yeah,
essentially, in
yeah,
terms of
yeah,
like his goals.
yeah. I could see that. I would like them not. I don't know. Like you have characters like Briar, who is a new character, and she's just kind of like created by. I think Vladimir had a part. Vladimir had a part in it too, because she always calls him dad.
Oh. Oh
Uh,
wow. Okay.
yeah, and creating it because I think she was created by this cult, this blood cult, as like a living weapon,
Hmm.
and I could see like us maybe having to fight her. But see, I don't want to kill off these characters. I feel like they can create new villains, kind of like how they did it after the fact. And we're like, it's easy to think of
Yeah.
those smaller groups.
Yeah. The smaller conflicts.
Yeah, and I think those come later. Versus the
Yeah.
bigger conflicts are much easier to identify now because those aren't going to change, and those have like branching storylines that go throughout everything.
Yeah. Those are going to take years to build up and resolve in a satisfying way.
Exactly, exactly.
That's fair. Because I mean, yeah, even in like like a lot of people are going to already know these big bads, like
Mhm.
just from like League of Legends and the Riot Forge titles. But then I still hope they do a really good job of building up the baddies with their backstories and with their motives and things like that. So it's not just like, oh, by the way, this expansion is the Aurelian Soul expansion. I know we like no reason, you have no idea why he's here outside of maybe like a side quest in Shurima that brought him up.
Yeah.
But here he is now. We're gonna fight him. Here's all of his backstory dumped on you this expansion.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Because I think that's a problem with a lot of MMOs. I mean, like even Final Fantasy 14 does that, where it's like, oh, by the way, here's the new threat. This is the threat of the next couple of years.
They get behind.
Yeah,
they get behind, and it's impossible to catch up because then
because you can't set like you can't put the pieces in place that like will be revealed late years in advance.
You need a big bad for this expansion. You haven't been building up a big bad for this time. And so now you need to use the time from that expansion to go into detail on this big bad so people understand him. And then because of that, you don't have time to build up the next big bad for, 2-3 expansions down the line. Yeah. And once you fall behind, it's impossible to catch up.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Like now they're rushing to get this story done and just have all of its pieces. And they're not going to have the time to put in all of those nice little details of, oh, by the way, the Void's still a thing. But, oh, by the way, Aurelian Soul's still a thing. Here's some meteors falling from his crown. By the way, that's a problem. You're going to have to worry about that. You're going to have to fight off some weird amalgamations that come from
that idea.
The crown's power from those meteors landing.
Wow, that's a really good idea.
Abominations
and it just happens off. Like at some
it just happens
way earlier. Not
anywhere close to even Aurelian Soul stuff, but people start talking about Aurelian Soul in the quests. They're, oh my god, it's happening. Oh, this is Armageddon. This is the end of the world.
But then it doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen yet. But people are freaking out because just so much as one meteorite falling off from his crown is enough to strike insane fear in the cities and towns surrounding it. It's like, oh my god, it's happening.
Exactly. I think that's the right way.
Like that's so important. But you can't fall behind. Nowhere close to the Aurelian Soul expansion or whatever the heck. Whenever we reveal Aurelian Soul being a threat.
Yeah, they have to be thinking about this ahead of time. Like the thing about like World of Warcraft, they had Warcraft 1, 2, and 3, where they were able to build out Arthas, and they were able to build out Illidan, because even though they were just that expansion, people already knew them from those ones. And
exactly.
The reason Garrosh was so cool is because people already knew him prior.
Oh yeah! Oh my god, that guy has so much history throughout Warcraft and World of Warcraft.
Yeah, or Kill Jaden. He's been around since like the beginning when the Draenei first came. He's been like talked about since the Burning Crusades. People knew who he was going into Legion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they need to especially if they need to either have, I think you do both. You have games on the side.
That's what
in Riot Forge.
I was just going to say that Riot Forge is so perfect.
Yeah.
And it's what I wish Warcraft has done, is that they should continue doing single player story focused experiences to build out the world and build out the baddies further. So that way,
Lysandra is going to be talked about. Lysandra is in Song of Nunu.
Oh, really?
She's the one who trapped the Watchers, and we don't know her full story, and we don't know what she's telling us, what isn't telling us. And we know she's after the Yeti, and supposedly the Yetis had something to do with the Howling Abyss and imprisoning the Watchers. But all Yetis are dead except one. There's a lot of lore there. I just threw it out.
Yeah, dude.
But yes, she's going to be, see, we could explore her more in that game. And so,
perfect.
Yep.
Oh my god.
But do both.
Yeah, do both. Because I'm going to be real, storytelling in an MMO is something that I want to stay strictly lore world focused. I don't want there to be one consolidated story that we're following throughout expansions, especially. That's an issue with every MMO that I've seen. Expansions are typically very one storyline focused, where it feels like you are just playing a single player RPG and your character's just standing there for all of it.
Yeah, exactly. It needs to bounce around a little bit.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit ADHD
focused games that help support just the Runeterra world lore that can exist in the MMO without having to go into way deep story building in the MMO.
Yeah, like you touch on one story, but then go to a different story that's not even relevant for this expansion.
Yeah.
And then go back to the expansion story, and then maybe touch on something else from another that's going to be planned out much later. And then come back to the main we still
have that big threat. We still have a reason for being there.
But there's
also happening. The main focus is the world still.
Yeah, compared to where it's just super next. This story is complete. Close the book.
Yeah.
Next story.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think Warcraft 3 transitioning into World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3 focuses on Arthas, who ends up being a big bad in World of Warcraft. Warcraft 3, you literally play as Arthas. And I think that's why he becomes one of the most famous, if not the most famous villain in World of Warcraft.
Man.
It's that single player experience where you really just get to delve deep into the story. You play as Arthas Menethil, and later on you have to take him down as your character. I hope they do that kind of stuff
Yeah,
with Riot Forge.
we
I
need a
hope they're thinking
Viego
about
game.
that. Yeah, dude. Seriously, if I could play as Viego, go through all of his struggles,
Yeah.
have all those hard moments that he goes through leading up to, the moment where his wife takes him down.
Yeah.
And he becomes the Viego we know.
The Rune
That
King.
kind of stuff. Yeah. So that way, when the time comes, you don't need all that insane exposition, in like the
Yeah.
MMO. Because that way, if people care about the story, they're gonna play the game. If they don't care about the story, they're gonna say Viego looks cool as hell. I
Yep.
can't wait to fight him.
Yeah.
That's what the Lich King was. I'm sure there were plenty of people who didn't know who the heck a Lich King was. They didn't care to play Warcraft 3. But goddamn it, he looks cool.
Yep.
That's all you need for those kind of
That-
people.
that's-
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah, but you need to have that lore background for other people like us.
Yeah, exactly. People who want to get invested, who want that big fight to feel climactic with all the necessary buildup. That's why I think Riot Forge is so perfect for this MMO to come.
Yep. That's
My
why I was
goodness.
thinking like they're doing like for different zones. They're letting you explore each zone. That's why every Riot Forge game is from a different area.
Yeah.
Like you have for Demacia, you have Mage Seeker.
Mhm.
For Zon and honestly like slash Piltover, but
Yeah,
anyways,
I don't think they'll do a Piltover game. So
yeah, you have
I would
Aztec
include
Mayhem, but I don't know if
Oh,
that
yeah.
counts. There's not any lore in it. It's just kind of like a mobile game.
Yeah.
But then you have Convergence, that's Zon. Then you have Song of Nuna, that's Freljord. You have Rune King, which is Bilgewater in the Shadow Isles.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have like a couple other zones there. Like they might do one for Noxus, for Ionia, for Istal, Shurima, Targon.
Yeah,
They
I
have
think
the Bandle City one coming out.
Oh yeah, that's
like,
right. Bandle Tales.
Bandle Tales.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
doing. I feel like they're doing one for every zone,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll be able to kind of you'll know the world going into Runeterra.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
exactly.
all of Runeterra, just Runeterra.
Yeah,
Okay.
just Rune
Game name.
Oh yeah, no. One thing I think for sure is inevitable is an Ionia game from Riot Forge.
Yeah.
Right? Like Ionia is way too popular. It has that awesome Japanese culture that people love, that like anime manga style
People love
looking
it.
characters and stuff. Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So that I
That'll
feel like is
sell.
inevitable. We'll see about the other zones. I hope they do stuff for like Ishtal. I think Ishtal would be a really cool Riot Forge game.
Yep.
There's a lot you can do there because I love that like jungle theme.
Yeah, I
that'd
think
stick.
you could honestly do like Ishtal, Shurima, and Akathia all in one game. They could be
Well, I
so
think so.
related. You can do like, yeah, a whole thing on the Void War kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's
Maybe
fair.
the Darken. Like that'd be a cool game. And then Ishtal is also associated with that because actually Ishtal mages are the ones that helped them build the Sun Disk and Shurima.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
They were allies. Like Shurima was.
They're pretty tight. Okay.
They were pretty tight. Yeah.
Oh man, good to know. Well, we have missed one thing that we said we were going to talk about at the start of this video.
What were we going to
It
talk?
will be our guide through
Pro-
Runeterra.
Oh, okay.
Because for me, obviously my knowledge of lore is pretty limited right now.
It's
But
growing.
I feel
though.
like it's definitely growing. At
You
this
accidentally
point.
said Freljord the other day when we were talking about something else. So you're starting to get into it where you're like
slipped my
your
brain.
your mind is in Runeterra now.
Oh my god, that's so true. But my first thought when I hear a guide through Runeterra is is his name Tarek, the mage in Targon?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's my very first thought. I think that might be because
Super
of the similarities
powerful.
between him and Khadgar.
Yep.
Yeah, Khadgar, World of Warcraft character who's also a very powerful mage who also guides you through a lot of stuff in World of Warcraft.
Yep.
So
He's also very neutral. Like he can be anywhere. He can bounce around the whole planet.
yeah, exactly. And much like a guide for the entire world, his sole duty seems like it's just to safeguard Runeterra.
That's literally his purpose. Actually,
Yeah, like he's no allegiances,
No.
nothing. He just wants to safeguard Runeterra, which is perfect because chances are every threat we're gonna be worrying about is a threat because they're threatening to safeguard Runeterra.
yes, exactly.
So I just think he makes way too much sense. I hope they don't fall into the pit of like, he's just constantly calling on us and just being like, champion.
Yeah, no. He's definitely gonna be our guide for Targon. I wonder if you'll kind of have a different guide depending on where you are. Like I feel like Echo would be a great guide for Zon.
Yeah.
I feel like for Demacia, like you want to be led by Garen.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like I think I think it's cool if he comes in and out, you know, so that way it's like, oh man, Tarek, my dude. Oh, remember that one time with the Watchers? Yeah,
I hope he says no. I
we're
don't remember
back.
you. There was like tons of people there. Like, what are you talking?
That'd be great.
Like, how would I? You realize?
Yeah, like oh, thank goodness the troops from Noxus are here.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh
like,
yeah. You
like, oh, we need these
that group
reinforcements
from Noxus. That's what I hope. Like, I don't want him to call me champion. I don't want him to, like. I want to be able to say like, okay, you know, he remembers that I helped in some way, but I never want to be like.
Yeah, he's like you've been through much, but now we must ask more of Noxus.
Like,
you know, stuff like that.
Yeah, you are a veteran of this war.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we're asking all veterans to come to do this.
Yeah. And I want it to be specifically if you completed that content.
Yes.
At the time that it was relevant.
Yeah. And if it's not, then you're a new recruit. Like recruits for this war.
Dude, because that's just like simple stuff. It's literally like one line of dialogue and nothing else. I don't want to like branch off to anything crazy. Literally just make a one line of dialogue that you recognize. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we need veterans of Noxus.
Yeah.
That'd be so cool to me.
I understand his magic and he can just literally just create the letters out of thin air. But I mean, he's going to freaking write a dedicated letter to every single character saying your exact name and about the times that we had together. No, that should not happen.
It's gonna be some like big announcement from you being a Demacian veteran. It's gonna be some big announcement in Demacia. Like
no, right, on the top of Targon.
It's a draft. Stands up you're being drafted.
The peak just yells, "War!" Turns this please. That's it. From the peak of Targon. It just yells it.
Yes, dude. More. That's why we're here, baby. That's why I made this character. That's why I entered Runeterra.
You know, speaking about the story, something that I realized when you're talking about like the expansion and how the story unfolds, and you definitely need a guide, right? You need to walk you through it. I think a lot of people write the expansions like you would write a book.
I think so too. I don't like that.
Yeah, I love Ruination, the book. I've read it twice. It's amazing. But it is a book. Like, I wouldn't want an expansion to be like that. I think The Witcher 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very popular open world single player game. And the reason it's popular is because you have that main story and you could literally just stick on that main story the whole time.
Yeah.
But you can also, you know, veer off here, then go back to the main story, veer off here, go back to the main story. And that's how expansion should be. Like, it should be okay.
Yeah.
You're on the main story, but then you veer off for a while, then you come back. And that's why I think The Witcher is one of the number one most liked and greatest single player RPGs ever made.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a huge factor.
Yeah, in The Witcher, I would say the main. I think it was I think it was Chris Metzen who said this. It was some big rep at Blizzard at the time. Who said that the main character of World of Warcraft is the world.
Yeah, I think that was.
And I think that's the case for The Witcher too.
I think that's who I got it from. I remember him saying Chris Metzen was someone who said world is the main character. And I think that's why I keep saying Runeterra should be the main character.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I think the Witcher and like RPGs like The Witcher are as popular as they are.
Yeah.
Because you know you got characters like Geralt who are really cool, but they're only so cool because of the society that they're in.
Yeah.
You know, because of the way that the world treats them and the way the world treats itself.
Yep.
And I think stuff like that's very important for Runeterra.
Also, Geralt, as cool as you are in the game, to the world, you are a Witcher.
Yeah.
And you are just a Witcher.
Exactly.
You do not walk into the city and everyone's like, Geralt. You walk into the shop. I would charge this, but for Geralt.
Yeah.
It's more like,
oh, for the Witcher, I'll charge extra.
Yeah. He doesn't pay up. They don't walk into the area, town square, and they're like, oh, we don't want Geralt here. They say we don't want a Witcher here.
Yeah.
No one knows who the F you are most of the time until like, okay, once you've been there for a while. Maybe there's certain people who know you, and obviously there's certain people who know of Geralt because he is in the world.
Yeah.
You know, but
yeah, people he interacted with. That's like those are people he has personally interacted with.
Yeah.
It's not like his name is spreading far and wide.
Exactly.
For his great deeds.
But the general world doesn't know who Geralt is. He is just a Witcher.
Yeah, the world is bigger than him.
Yeah, and that's why you feel
important.
That's another reason why The Witcher is great. Like a lot of other RPGs make it where like you are this character. Everyone knows you. You're significant.
You're gonna save the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, we need to be limited in Runeterra. Runeterra should be bigger than us.
That's biggest
very important. Honestly, that's my biggest ask too. More than like gameplay, legit. I need Runeterra to come first, more than any character.
Oh, and talking about also, you were talking about the BADS, like the little guys, whatever. There's obviously a lot in the Shadow Isles. There's a lot of smaller ones.
Yeah, but even Zon has its fair share of like little threats, right?
Yeah,
I'm sure like thugs and abominations.
Exactly. And even Ionia, you have like the demons. Like there's demons from the spirit realm. So I think it's easy to make those dungeon fights and like those smaller bads.
Yeah,
That you have to
those
do.
small stories to tell based on what's already there.
Yeah, they're already there. It's just you have to get there.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like even like like I always come back to Noxus because I think Noxus is so cool. But like,
Is that where you'd want it? Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
you
that's
said
probably where I'm gonna end up. It's so chaotic. I
you'd be
love
a
that.
Vandal in Noxus.
Yeah, yeah, I'd probably be a Yordle and
Yordle
Noxus.
in Noxus.
But like like Noxus, as chaotic as it is, no way there's not going to be like like uprising groups within Noxus that are
Oh yeah.
like against the norm, against the status quo of Noxus, because in Noxus they allow that kind of stuff,
Yep.
and you
Actually, if you
have to help
uprise, you're
fight that
allowed to
down.
uprise. Like
Yeah,
if you
exactly.
uprise and overthrow the whole economy, it's like, wow, great
Yeah,
job.
yeah. It's like, well, you're
You are in
strongest.
charge now.
Yeah, yeah. It's like
It's
I feel like
literally
in
what
Noxus that makes a
happened.
lot of sense. That you're going to be fighting other groups that are
Mhm.
vying for power in Noxus,
Yep,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so I feel like those kind of small threats. It's like they don't exist on paper yet, but it's very easy to see how they're set up right now.
Yeah, I would 100% support General Swain though, because I just love General Swain. Like he literally, so General Swain, he had a coup. There was Borum Darkwill, who's honestly running the Noxus into the ground, not doing a great job.
Ah,
Uh, but then you have during he like created a coup, General Swain,
mm-hmm.
and he took over. And instead of usurping power completely for himself, he created the Triforix, which is like a council to lead Noxus.
Ooh,
Yeah, which consisted of like him, Darius, and I think and LeBlanc. And so
mm.
he created like someone who took power and then gave that power away to like something to better Noxus.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of guy I would still follow. I would follow Swain if I was in Noxus.
Man, I hope. I mean, like I feel like that would require a lot of like branching stories, which takes up a lot of development time in terms of like depending on who you support. But I do hope you can support certain people in Noxus. I think that'd be so cool.
There's so much they could do.
There's so much they
Man,
can
we
do.
didn't talk about so much stuff that we were supposed to be talking about. We were supposed to talk about the uniform lore that they were talking. They were saying.
Oh, we didn't even bring that up.
Yeah.
That was
We also didn't
good.
talk about the Shadow Isles and Viego as like one of the biggest threats to Runeterra.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, Viego's definitely one of the most developed threats
Or
for
why
Runeterra.
or
That
why
man has a lot
yeah.
of story behind him.
Viego, Shadow Isles. There's also Pike, who's being
Oh yeah.
mind controlled by the monsters, by sea monsters. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's
I
a
mean,
thing.
hey, his ambitions just don't add up. They don't line up with his personal goals. So
We can talk about that next time. But let's talk a little bit about or should we I think we have to touch on this. We'll touch on the
yeah, we have to
uniform
touch
lore
on.
because it literally just happened.
It did literally, yeah. I guess we do have to talk about it. I feel like anyone who expects us to be talking about it right now is pissed because we're 54 minutes in. We've been
Oh
talking.
jeez. Maybe I'll cut this section, just put it at the beginning. Just be like, oh
Yeah,
the
by the
uniform
way,
lore. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna let it ride.
All
They
right.
stick to the end to figure out
We're live.
so and what do you think about the lore being uniform? Why are they doing it? What's the rationale? And what does that mean for like Riot going forward?
Yeah. So the big announcement recently, essentially them saying we're going to consolidate all of our games, anything that involves Runeterra, into a single canon. So there's going to be no contradictions. They're going to leave fewer spots left untold. You know, uh, I think that kind of thing. Obviously, I can't see it relating to anything else other than the MMO, specifically because Riot Forge games are very zone specific.
100%.
Riot Forge games are very consolidated in their own single story, which I like. I like that about Riot Forge games. It gives that nice breadth of seeing everywhere in depth. But like, there's no reason for them to make a single canon of all of Runeterra outside of the MMO.
Yeah,
You know?
otherwise it wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah,
If
I
you're making
don't. I don't think they're
individual-
doing this for Project L.
Yeah, no, probably not. Probably not. It's just like if they are making individual games, those individual games can just be canon in their own section of time. You know,
Yeah, and like they're so completely unrelated that like like chances are something that happens in Shurima is not going to affect Freljord.
yeah,
You know, especially if they're completely separate games the way that they are.
Yeah.
So
I'll say this. Okay, so what I know, they did say Song of Nunu is canon. They said that. They said Arcane is canon.
okay,
I think all Riot Forge games are canon. I think
I would think so too.
Convergence is canon.
Hmm.
Mage Seeker is canon, and I think Rune King is that canon. Those are all gonna stay canon. Riot Forge games will be canon, and
Yeah.
the only thing that I wonder about the conversions and it being canon is that it may contradict Arcane with
Mm,
Echo's backstory because
really?
yeah, although you can say that we just didn't explore Echo enough in Arcane, so we don't really see that part of him. But in Convergence, Echo has parents, and
Mhm.
that's the story that I knew as well. Is that like that's his story online? That he had parents, and he has a family, and he lives in Zon, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in Arcane, it looks to me like he's an orphan who's being raised by what's his name? Some guy in Arcane. He's
Hmm.
being raised as an orphan, but it could just be that, you just never see his parents and he just like runs around Zon all the time.
Yeah. I mean, like, did they say when his parents died? Like, at what age?
His parents aren't dead.
Oh, his parents aren't dead.
No.
What the? Okay.
In Convergent, I mean,
Are they just? They're just not there.
they're just not there in Arcane. Yeah, like they never explore it. So I
That's
don't I
interesting.
don't know if he's an orphan or they just never show his parents. Because I mean, at the end of the day, the main characters of Convergence really are Vi and Jinx. I
Hmm.
feel those are like the main characters.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Echo is kind of like a side. He's like a
He's there.
yeah, subsidiary character. So maybe they just didn't explore him enough, but I kind of really like Echo's story as it is now with like his parents and stuff.
Mm.
Because there's a lot to there's a lot to unpack there than
Yeah, it means
with him
there's
just
more
being an
to him.
orphan. Yeah.
I agree. I feel like the orphan thing is kind of tropey. You
Yeah.
know, it's very popular for a hero to start off as an orphan.
Yeah, and I like his future self and Convergence comes back to this is a little bit of a spoiler. Anyway,
He's on the cover art, dude. It's
yeah,
all good.
yeah, like yeah, he is on the cover art. Yeah,
Yeah.
his future self comes back and everything. Like the story of Convergence is very, very good. I would not want to see Convergence taken away because of Arcane. Although I do think Arcane needs to be canon because
Yeah, it's
a
really
lot of
popular.
it's very popular and Arcane 2 is coming out, which is going to be canon. But I just would like them to say that, okay, we just didn't explore Echo fully in Arcane. There's only so much time in the show,
Hmm.
but he still has that story of his parents and all that, and Convergence is also canon.
Yeah, I
But
think that's
that's
what they're
the
gonna have to
one.
do.
That's the only one that I really worry about. The rest, I feel like those main stories are gonna stay canon. Like I don't think the Watcher's story is gonna change. I don't think Viego's story is gonna change. The Ascended and Shurima, Targon, Aurelion Sol, the Lysandra, like nothing in Demacia. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of story that's still in line. There's like a couple don't really make sense. Like Seraphine.
Yeah, I think also this does not seem like it, like I wouldn't be surprised if a character like that has been a little more all over the place, just because I don't think they're gonna do anything big with a character like Seraphine.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like she is more just like like a character that represents Piltover and its ideals. You know, like of course a pop star is going to be in Piltover.
Hmm. Yeah, there's certain characters that I think need to be, if they want to include them in the game, need to be changed a little bit to fit better with the lore, like Seraphine. But I think majority of the lore does fall in line with a uniform canon already.
Hmm.
If you look at my video covering the Noxus timeline, I don't think
Yeah.
that timeline is going to change.
Hmm.
That the timeline that Noxus created. Ruination, that book is going to be canon. I think pretty much everything in the book, Realms of Runeterra, that's all going to
Yeah.
be canon. So really, not. I don't think as much is going to change as people think. People are really
Yeah.
expecting like, oh my god, what's getting thrown out? You
They're
know?
gonna like rewrite the entire
Yeah.
world.
I,
No, yeah, I think it is more just like they've already been pretty good, especially with the Riot Forge games. They've already been pretty good about, like a consolidated canon and not stepping on the toes of
yeah.
other games and things like that. I think now they're just being even more so like that.
Exactly.
They're gonna go back and correct like very little things. I think here and there that contradict each other from like years ago. I
Exactly.
think that's what's gonna happen.
That's
They're just
more what
really
they're
gonna
doing.
nail down on
The,
that kind of stuff.
the really old stuff, I think, is going to be maybe like there's some stuff, some stories that just need to be fixed so they align with everything.
Yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen.
Mhm.
It's more so that they just really wanted to make that statement to be like, now we're really gonna crack down
Yeah.
even more than we already do, which I'm sure they already do, to be honest, to some
Oh yeah.
extent. With all these different like games and shows and books and everything, no way they don't have a team dedicated to just making sure that the world of Runeterra has a single canon.
Mm.
Like even before this announcement, right?
Yeah. 100%. 100% that team is already there and now they just have a little bit more power.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, okay, we touched on what we had to. We did not finish the main bosses of Runeterra,
Oh my
like the
god.
main big bads. I think we'll complete that next time.
I'm
There's a
down.
lot more that I wanted to talk about.
I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, I think Viego deserves his own hour.
Yeah, yeah. I did just release a video for Viego covering his story on the YouTube,
Yeah.
on my YouTube. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll continue this conversation in the next one, right here in the Brazen Hydra pub in Bilgewater. You can find me at Entgrove on socials and YouTube. And Conquest, you got anything you want to give out?
Let's see. I guess today will be the day that I set up my Twitter.
Okay.
I will have a
It's
Conquest
time.
Twitter. You'll find me at Conquest if that's not taken.
Okay, yeah, you gotta check if that's taken or not.
yeah. Either way, my social should be here on the Brazen Hydra wherever you're listening. You should be able to find the link down there. So
Yeah, and then obviously we do have the Brazen Hydra. Feel free to follow there, submit your questions, answers, story suggestions, do that all there. And you could also find us at thebrazenhydra.com. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next one.